Hi guys, thanks for watching. My name is Shalonda, and in case you haven't already figured out, this is my very first time attempting to do a YouTube channel. Well, I take that back. It's not really my first time. I have uploaded content to this YouTube channel before, never with the intention of being monetized or creating content for others. I have posted images and videos of myself, my family members, funerals, things of that nature. I think I may have done one Costco haul several years ago. But I am embarking on a new journey in that I want to start taking this YouTube channel seriously. And one of the first few things that I wanted to talk about is loss. And I did a video about a live stream where I was talking about depression and about how people are going through depression this time of year and how depression is something that I suffer from. Well, the type of loss that I'm talking about tonight is a different kind of loss, in the sense that back in January of 2021, this year, I found out, or should I say my husband and I, my family and I, found out that I was pregnant and that we would be expecting our 5th child. And just to give you a little backstory about myself, I have 3 children that I gave birth to, and my husband's daughter, which is really my daughter, I just didn't birth her. She has Down syndrome. And I've had 3 children of my own, and each of my children were considered high risk because I am a heart patient. I have congestive heart failure, I have mitral valve prolapse, I have coronary artery disease, I have so many heart diagnoses that make me high risk for pregnancies. And so, to make a long story short, if you guys would like, I could do a story time about the birth of all 3 of my children, because they were very eventful and probably very entertaining as well. But anyway, so in January we find out that I'm pregnant again, and it's not great news for my doctors. It's not great news for us really initially, because we were concerned about my heart, and I had already given birth to 3 beautiful children, and I wanted to be here for those children to live. And so it's kind of bittersweet because, you know, children are blessings. And then life hit. You know, my husband and I had just started really wrapping our minds around the fact that we were going to have another child. We started thinking about what it meant to go to the grocery store with 5 children, a car seat, all those things. We just started imagining our life that way and preparing and actually kind of getting used to the idea. And then life happened. I went to the bathroom, and when I went to the bathroom, I wiped, and I immediately knew something was wrong. And it just so happened that my first prenatal appointment was on this same day. And so I go call the nurse line and I tell them what happened. And they said, just come into your regular appointment and we'll see. And so I get to the appointment and I go to do the ultrasound. And the gentleman, he was kind of rude because I was trying to record a video because my husband couldn't be there. And I wanted him to be able to experience the moment with me, even if it was after the fact. And he immediately told me to put the phone away. No video, no pictures. And at that point, he already knew something was wrong. So I looked at the big screen where they put your ultrasound where you can see. And like I said, I've had 3 children, and I immediately knew that something was terribly, terribly wrong about this ultrasound. And so I just watched his facial expressions. And he didn't give off anything. He was just very stoic, just bland, really unemotional. He was very emotionless. So, sorry, excuse me, guys. So I say to him, "What's wrong?" And he goes, "Well, it seems I can't find a heartbeat. My heart just broke. My heart broke. Yeah, my heart broke. Yeah. My heart broke, and he goes, and it appears that your baby passed away some time ago." Now, as if that news wasn't hard enough, they take me and they have me meet with one of the attending fellow doctors, but it's through Zoom. So they put me in an office by myself and had me speak to this head fellow at the hospital. And she's telling me, unfortunately, this is where we are. Maybe it's for the best because of your heart concerns. And, it was just a lot for one moment. And so I speak to her. I put on a brave face, and I go to the next doctor's office. Like the next room. And I meet with another doctor, and she goes over my options. And she says, "Well, it sounds like your the process has already started on its own. And so why don't we just let you go home and see if the rest of the tissue will pass." And I said, "You mean my baby?" And she says, "Yes, ma'am." And I just thought it was really insensitive. I know they're doctors, but I thought it was really insensitive to refer to my child is tissue, but okay. So I said, okay, my other options were to take medications, but the process had already started according to her. And so I go home and they scheduled me like in a few days for a DNC to remove the rest of product of conception in case I didn't pass all of my baby's body parts and amniotic sac. And I didn't do anything for the whole weekend. Like, I cramped. I was in horrible pain. I was in emotional pain. I couldn't stop crying. And so nothing happened the whole weekend. So I went to my appointment for surgery. And I went into that appointment, had the procedure. I was under the impression that everything went fine. Boy, was I wrong. Everything was not fine. I come to my follow-up appointment from the procedure, and I go to my regular doctor's office now to follow up. And I say, I've started back cramping. The cramping has come back. It hurts. Excuse me, what do I do? Like, am I supposed to still be cramping? And she said, well, it's unusual that you're still cramping. So let's take a look on the ultrasound. And one thing I did want to let you know is that when we did your DNC, we didn't find a whole lot of product of conception. We didn't find anything. And I said, what? Like, no one thought to tell me that? So I was like, what does that mean? She goes, well, the fact that you're still cramping probably means that there's still product of conception inside of you. And so we look at the ultrasound, and sure enough, we see what I can clearly identify as a sac. Just a sac. And so they decide that they're going to give me, I think it was like 4 pills that they injected inside of me. Well, not injected, but placed inside of me. And said that they would give me 24 to 48 hours to let that medication work. And what that medication was to do was to make my stomach contract and to push the rest of the baby out. That did not work. In fact, the only thing it did was somewhere around the 25th hour. Somewhere around the 25th hour, I felt this most incredible pain. It was so painful that I had to bend over, and I was screaming and yelling for help. It was just so painful. And it lasted for about 5 minutes, and then it was over. But that was the only thing that medication had done. And so I returned back to my doctor's office, and so they had me go to this little back room, and I'll never forget it. I don't know if any of you have seen the movie, I think it's called Colored Girls with Whoopi Goldberg. The scene where Gracie May is performing a back room, how can I say this? Because I don't want it to get striked on YouTube. Macy Gray had a young lady on the table who was also pregnant and wished to no longer be pregnant. And Macy Gray performed a very inexpensive service to make the young lady's wishes come true. And this back room at my doctor's office looked like that room in Macy Gray's apartment. And my husband was there, and they laid me on the table, and they told me, oh, it's not gonna hurt, you know, it'll be quick. We're gonna use this aspirating device, and we're just gonna suction it out. And what I lie to you not, this was the most painful thing that I have ever been through in my life, and I gave natural birth to my third child. No medication, no IV, no nothing. Came into the hospital and she was born 18 minutes later. Like, so I've been through some pain. This is the most horrible pain. And by the way, I've had my chest split open 3 times. This is the worst pain I've ever been in my life. They took the device and they twisted it. Let's see, for me, it was clockwise from my direction. Clockwise. They turned it and turned it and turned it. And I presume as they were turning it and turning it and turning it, there was suction that was being created. And it hurt so bad. And I screamed and I held my husband's hand. And I screamed and I cried. And then they were done. And then they whisked their container off. And I never got to see the container or anything. They just left. So I lay there and I cried and I had a panic attack. I had a full-on panic attack. And so it took me about 45 minutes to be able to leave the air office because I was so emotional. I was emotional because a lot of things. It just seemed like that everything that was bad that could happen to me was happening. It was like I could not catch a break. And so I'm trying to remember, I left there that day. And I'm trying to remember, oh, okay. So I left there that day. I was having cramps. And cramps did not get any better. So I decided to go to a different emergency room than the hospital that I'd been dealing with. And I go there and I tell them, I am in pain. I am cramping. I had these 2 procedures done. I am cramping. I am in extreme amount of pain. Something is wrong with me. Please help. I get an x-ray. I mean, not an x-ray, an ultrasound. And mind you, I'm grieving because I've lost my baby. My baby's not inside me anymore, right? I go to this new hospital and they do an ultrasound just to check to make sure nothing was ruptured, make sure everything was okay. And the young lady is being extremely nice, extremely gentle. And I know that because they're technicians, they really can't tell you much. But I said to her, you know, I just really feel like something isn't right about this whole thing. I've had 2 DNCs and something just doesn't feel right. And she did say to me, well, Miss Williams, you're still pregnant. No, she didn't say that. She said, Miss Williams, I will have to let the doctor discuss all of that with you. And she will be in immediately to talk to you as soon as you get back to your room. So I go back to my hospital room. I'm in the ER. And I just got back from, I had just gotten back from ultrasound when my doctor came running in and she goes, we're going to have to transfer you to the big wake, which is like the big hospital. She's like, we're gonna have to transfer you over there because you may have to have an emergency tubal. You're pregnant in your tubes. And immediately I just break down again. I was like, no, 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 not again, not again, not again. And I just kept saying, not again, not again, not again, not again. Because I knew that that meant that I was going to have to go through more surgery. I didn't want more surgery. I had been through enough. And I was trying to grieve. So then we go to they transfer me to the big wake, and I get there and they play it down. Oh, you know, this can happen. You're pregnant in your tubes. But we're gonna give you another medication. And I said, you know what? I don't want to do that. I want to go to the hospital. I want to have the surgery right away.